From 1991, Somalia became a troubled country. The overthrow of General Siad Barre left this country once a Pan-African state, a state that looked after Africa, a state that cared for Africa, a pariah state. He left a pariah state behind where warlords and warlordism became the order of the day. The only time that Somalia has come closer to having real peace is when Islamic courts, led by Sharif Ahmed Sharif, was in power. That was the only time that it closed, it removed quite a lot of chaos, but later on it was again engulfed with quite a lot of difficulties, and it was overthrown from power, and again Somalia slid back to the chaos that we see today. The influx of foreign fighters into Somalia, Al-Qaeda-based ISIS, and other formats of all terrorist groups that left Afghanistan, Iraq, and some other parts of the Middle East has brought a new dimension for the East Africa and the Horn of Africa nation. Governments, successive governments in Somalia have been fighting to rout out the terrorists who have taken the Somalis hostages. They have been in this country, in the rural areas, fighting, killing, maiming, torturing, cutting people's limbs without any reprieve. The international community has watched, has pumped in money, but has not gone in with full action, like the action that we see called upon against Russia with Ukraine. Why has Africa been left to sort its own mess, yet the mess that was created by other people? The question begs then, why is it that the United States of America has not given us enough impetus, enough strength, enough courage, enough determination, enough resolve to be able to remove this conflict from our midst? Ugandan troops were the first contingent that arrived from my own country. As I speak, I have very many of orphans, widows, and widowers. Our country has suffered the brutality of the terrorist attacks that took place both in Uganda and then later on in Kenya, which has also suffered greatly with several terrorist attacks and tactics of urban terrorism. Today, as we speak, the influx and the change of tactics in Somalia brings to the table what can be done, what can we do to change the tide of the new tactics that have now resolved to take on urban terrorism instead of the rural terrorism, because of the policy of the current president, who has said he will arm the civilians, he will arm the citizens, he will sensitize the citizens to smoke out the terrorists in the rural areas. And for the question of getting international publicity, of course you have to hit the tactics of any rebel group, is to hit the cities, the centers, the key areas, the hotels. And this time, last week, or last 3-4 days, they hit near Fila, Somalia, the state house equivalent of the White House of the people of America. And in Somalia it's called the Villa House, which was hit, which was 1 kilometer away. A hotel was hit. Several people died. Some were taken hostages, and all the terrorists who entered there died. is it time now for us to look at what can be done to remove these terror activities that go on and go on unabated in the territory of Somalia? How long will the troops stay in Somalia? How long will the Ugandan troops, the new force formed by Organization African Unity, the AU, the pumping of money resources by some other countries, are there some foreign external forces that are dismembering Somalia? Are there forces that don't want peace in Somalia? There could be forces, there could be darker forces that are fighting and jostling for the resources of Somalia. After all, we have been seeing that for every resource in Africa, for every resource in any country in Africa, there have been darker forces that have always come to kill, to maim, to help the terror groups to dismember states of that nature. We therefore call upon the people of Somalia and call upon the international community to stand by the people of Somalia, to put in new energy in resolving the conflict, to stop the terror attacks in the cities, especially in Mogadishu, which is Sector 1, that have intensified. We all know this. Those people who live in Mogadishu know these terrorists. They know who they are. They live with them. Why are the people not standing up in Mogadishu? I land my mic by appealing to the international community, therefore, to come up and help the people of Somalia. Somalia is in deep crisis. The terrorists have changed the tactics. They have gone to urban guerrilla warfare. I land the mic. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, viewers across the planet and the continent of Africa especially. Ours is to make sure that there is a better Africa, and that Africa can only come when there is peace. Thank you.